The morning mist clung to Augusta National like a shroud of destiny. Two titans of golf stood on opposite ends of the driving range, their eyes locked in a stare that could melt steel. Charlie Wood, the young prodigy with fire in his veins, gripped his driver until his knuckles turned white. Across the green expanse, Tiger Woods, the legend himself, rolled his shoulders with the calculated precision of a predator. The gallery whispered in hushed tones, father and son, mentor and student, past and future. Today, only one would claim the crown. The war had begun. If you're willing to join me on this journey, subscribe with just one click, because some relationships start with just one button. Charlie had always lived in the shadow of greatness. Every swing, every putt, every breath he took on the golf course was measured against the impossible standards set by his father. Tiger Woods, 15 major championships, 82 PGA Tour victories, a name that echoed through the corridors of golf history like thunder. But shadows have a way of growing longer as the sun sets, and Charlie's shadow was about to eclipse the legend itself. The tension between them had been building for months. It started innocently enough, a casual round at their home course in Florida. Charlie, now 25 and hungry for his own legacy, had outdriven Tiger on every hole. The old lion's pride had been wounded, and pride, as they say, comes before the fall. You think you're ready for this? Tiger had asked that day, his voice carrying the weight of decades spent conquering golf courses around the world. Charlie's response had been swift and cutting. I've been ready since I was 5 years old. The question is, are you ready to step aside? The words hung in the air like a challenge thrown down at high noon. Tiger's eyes had narrowed, and in that moment, the loving father had transformed into the ruthless competitor who had dominated golf for over 2 decades. The PGA Tour had never seen anything like it. When the Woods family feud went public, it sent shockwaves through the sporting world. Press conferences became battlegrounds, interviews turned into psychological warfare, and every tournament they both entered became a circus of media attention and fan hysteria. Augusta National, the cathedral of golf, had become the chosen battlefield for their final confrontation. The Masters tournament, where Tiger had won 5 green jackets, where he had cemented his legacy as one of the greatest golfers ever to walk the earth. It was here that Charlie had decided to make his stand. The first round was a masterclass in tension. Tiger, playing with the methodical precision that had made him a household name, carded a respectable 69. But Charlie, channeling years of suppressed ambition and raw talent, fired a blistering 65. The crowd was electric, torn between loyalty to the legend and fascination with the young upstart who dared to challenge the King. In the clubhouse that evening, the atmosphere was thick with unspoken words. Tiger sat alone at his usual table, studying yardage books with the intensity of a general planning a military campaign. Charlie, surrounded by a group of younger players who had begun to see him as their leader, laughed loudly, perhaps too loudly, at jokes that weren't particularly funny. The second round brought rain and wind, conditions that typically favored the experienced player. Tiger seemed to come alive in the elements, his swing as smooth as silk despite the challenging conditions. He shot a 67, moving within 2 shots of Charlie's lead. The young Woods, fighting both the weather and the growing pressure, managed a 7-1. As they walked off the 18th green, Tiger approached his son. For a moment, the gallery held its breath, hoping for a reconciliation, a moment of humanity in this gladiatorial contest. Nice playing today, Tiger said, his voice neutral. Charlie looked at his father, seeing not the man who had taught him to grip a club, but the obstacle standing between him and his destiny. Save the pleasantries for after I win, he replied. Coldly, the third round was pure theater. Paired together for the first time in the tournament, father and son created a spectacle that drew the largest television audience in Masters history. Every shot was scrutinized, every emotion magnified, every interaction between them analyzed by commentators and fans alike. Tiger, drawing on reserves of competitive fire that had seemed extinguished in recent years, played like a man possessed. His iron shots were laser precise, his putting sublime. Charlie, refusing to be intimidated, matched him shot for shot, displaying a fearlessness that both impressed and worried the galleries. By the turn, they were tied for the lead. The back nine at Augusta is where legends are made and dreams are shattered. Tiger knew this better than anyone. He had walked these fairways in triumph and defeat, had felt the weight of the green jacket on his shoulders and the sting of near misses. The 12th hole, the treacherous par 3 over Rays Creek, became the turning point. Tiger's tee shot, a thing of beauty that seemed to hang in the air forever, landed softly on the green and rolled to within 6 feet of the pin. The crowd erupted in appreciation for the shot, but the celebration was short-lived. Charlie stepped up to the tee, and for a moment, his youth showed. His hands trembled slightly as he gripped the club. Tiger noticed, and for an instant, the father in him wanted to offer comfort, to remind his son to trust his swing, to believe in himself. But the competitor in Tiger remained silent, watching. With hawkish intensity, Charlie's shot was perfect, a high, soft draw that landed even closer to the pin than Tiger's ball. The crowd's roar was deafening, but Charlie didn't acknowledge it. He simply handed his club to his caddy and walked toward the green with the confidence of a man who had just announced his arrival on the world stage. Tiger made his birdie putt, the ball rolling true into the heart of the cup, but Charlie, showing nerves of steel, drained his shorter putt for birdie as well. They remained tied, but the momentum had shifted. The student was no longer merely keeping pace with the master. He was setting the pace. The final 5 holes were a blur of brilliant golf and mounting tension. Tiger, reaching deep into his vast reservoir of experience, made clutch shot after clutch shot. Charlie, playing with the fearlessness of youth and the hunger of a man with nothing to lose, matched him stride for stride. Standing on the 18th tee, they were still tied. The par 4 finishing hole at Augusta, with its uphill approach and treacherous pin positions, had decided many masters over the years. Today, it would decide the fate of golf's first family. Tiger's drive was perfect, splitting the fairway and leaving him with a mid-iron to the green. Charlie, knowing he needed to be aggressive, took a more dangerous line over the trees on the right. His ball cleared the branches by inches and rolled even further than Tiger's, leaving him with just a wedge to the pin. The walk up the 18th fairway was surreal. Thousands of spectators lined the route, their cheers creating a wall of sound that seemed to shake the ancient oaks. Tiger walked with the measured pace of a man who had done this many times before, but there was something different in his gait. A slight hesitation, perhaps, or the weight of knowing that this might be his last great moment. Charlie bounced slightly as he walked, his youth and excitement evident despite his attempts to appear calm. This was his moment, his chance to step out of the shadow and into the light. Tiger's approach shot was textbook perfect, landing soft on the green and rolling to within 12 feet of the pin. The crowd appreciated the shot, but the applause was muted. They were waiting for Charlie. The young Woods took his time over the ball, visualizing the shot in his mind. He knew that this wedge could define the rest of his career. Too aggressive, and he might fly it over the green. Too conservative, and he might leave himself with a difficult putt to tie. He chose aggression. The ball flew high and landed soft, taking one small hop before rolling toward the pin. It seemed to hang on the edge of the cup for an eternity before dropping in for eagle. The roar from the gallery was unlike anything Augusta National had ever heard. Charlie raised his arms in triumph, his face a mask of pure joy and relief. He had done it. He had conquered the course, the pressure, and most importantly, the legend himself. Tiger stood on the green, watching his son celebrate, and for a moment, the competitor in him was replaced by the father. Pride swelled in his chest, even as disappointment at his own defeat weighed on his shoulders. He had been beaten by the one person on earth who had learned everything from him. As Charlie lined up his putt for the victory, Tiger approached him. The crowd fell silent, straining to hear what the legend might say to his son in this moment. "I'm proud of you," Tiger said quietly, his voice carrying just far enough for the microphones to pick up. "You played like a champion today." Charlie looked at his father, and for the first time in months, the anger and resentment in his eyes was replaced by something else: respect, gratitude, and yes, love. "I learned from the best," Charlie replied, and for a moment, they were just father and son again. Charlie's putt was pure, rolling straight into the heart of the cup. As the ball disappeared, he became the youngest Masters champion in history. But more importantly, he had finally stepped out of his father's shadow and into his own light. The green jacket ceremony was emotional for everyone involved. Tiger, despite his defeat, was there to present the jacket to his son, their feud forgotten in the face of this historic moment. As he helped Charlie into the jacket, the crowd saw not two rivals, but a father passing the torch to his son. In his victory speech, Charlie was gracious and humble. He thanked his father for everything he had taught him, both on and off the course. He spoke of the weight of expectations and the freedom that came with finally meeting them. Most importantly, he spoke of the future, not just his own, but the future of golf itself. Tiger, watching from the side, felt a complex mix of emotions. The competitor in him was devastated by the loss, but the father in him was bursting with pride. He had created not just a golfer, but a champion. The game he loved would be in good hands. As the sun set over Augusta National, the two woodsmen walked off the 18th green together. Their rivalry transformed into something deeper, a mutual respect born of competition, forged in the fire of their shared passion for the game. The golf world had witnessed something special that day, not just the changing of the guard, but the evolution of a relationship from conflict to understanding. Charlie had won his first major championship, but more importantly, he had won his father's respect as an equal. The feud that had captivated the sporting world was over, but the legacy of both men would continue. Tiger would play on, his competitive fire undimmed by defeat, searching for one more major championship to add to his collection. Charlie would carry the burden and the privilege of being the new standard-bearer for excellence in golf. As they sat in the clubhouse later that evening, sharing a quiet drink away from the media circus, Tiger looked at his son with new eyes. The boy who had once followed him around practice rounds, asking endless questions about course management and shot selection, had become a man capable of beating him at his own game. So what now? Tiger asked, genuinely curious about what came next. Charlie smiled, the green jacket still draped over his shoulders. "Now we go home, and tomorrow we start preparing for the next tournament. Because I have a feeling you're going to want a rematch." Tiger laughed, and in that moment, the circle was complete. The student had become the master, but the master was not ready to retire. The game of golf, and the world watching it, would be better for having witnessed this remarkable chapter in the sport's history. The story of Charlie and Tiger Woods would be told for generations, not just as a tale of sporting rivalry, but as a testament to the complex relationship between fathers and sons, mentors and students, legends and the legends they inspire. In the end, both men had won something more valuable than any tournament. They had won each other's respect and renewed their bond as family. The war was over, but the game would go on.